Yo, so the 80s gave us a stream of classic movies, ones that people love to this day. You got stuff like The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, the Indiana Jones franchise, The Princess Bride, Back to the Future, E.T., and stuff from John Hughes like The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles. These are movies that pretty much a lot of people love. And I'll admit, some of them have made it onto my favourite movies list. But yesterday I saw another kind of classic from the 80s, one that I've seen quite a lot of people regard as one of their favourite movies. The 80s classic, The Goonies. And I do see why people love it. It is one of those kind of classic 80s movies, and it is, I think, the definition of the child kind of adventure movie. In fact, adventure movies in general, it's one of those ones that is the definition of it. Is it enough to really make it into my favourite movies list? Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. But for for those who somehow kind of don't know about the Goonies, it kind of follows a group of kids who they're about to be pushed out of their kind of homes by the expansion of a country club. So kind of get together for one final weekend together before they get pushed out, and decide to go on a little adventure to try and find kind of gold belonging to the famous pirate One-Eyed Willie. And kind of from there, it's just kind of zany action, kind of adventure, and quite a few booby traps, which is it's kind of fun. I mean, I do think if I might have seen this movie when I was younger, then yeah, it might have made it onto my favourite movies list. But kind of seeing this kind of movie as a young adult, it took me a little bit of a second to kind of sync up with it. I mean, as I said, if I watched it when I was younger, I might have synced up a lot quicker. But kind of the first 5 minutes of this movie, the kids as child actors, they're not bad, but they're kind of talking kind of so fast at this point that it took me just a little while just for my brain to get synced up and go, okay, I think I get what's going on. But it does have some legitimately funny kind of scenes. I mean, kind of Chunk is funny. I think my favourite character out of all those is probably Data, played by Jonathan K. Kwan, a name I've almost certainly mucked up there, and I apologise. He previously appeared in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, but I think I enjoyed his character the most in this movie. He constantly seems to be on the back foot, but then also kind of several steps ahead, marking down kind of booby traps in order to kind of stop the bad guys, the Fratellis, from following them. Which, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just he was cute, but yeah, I think Data was my favourite character here. But you've also got, I mean, while I haven't really seen kind of much of kind of actors in this film, the one who I do know of was this movie featured a young Josh Brolin, kind of before he became Thanos or Cable, which, yeah, I think he does a good job here. He kind of plays the older brother who's kind of trying to keep his younger brother out of trouble, mainly so he doesn't get in trouble. But, yeah, you also kind of see him develop throughout the movie and says that, yeah, I know what. He's like, most of the time, look, our time is up. Come on, let's go home. We're not going to get any more out of this. But then kind of gradually throughout the movie, he's like, oh, okay, I think I would roll with this. And you know what? He's a good character. And I do think it's a good one. I mean, as I said, would this movie make my kind of favourite movies list? Ugh. It might have done one. If I had seen it when I was younger, it probably would have made the list. But I have got kind of two kind of 80s movies on my favourite movies list in Princess Bride and Back to the Future. Would this class it? I think it would probably make the honourable mentions list. But yeah, I do see why people love it, and I do see why they consider it one of their favourite movies. It's probably just not one of mine. I would probably watch it every kind of year or so, and I do think it is one of those great action movies, kind of great adventure movies that everyone should see at least once or twice a year. Yeah, I think it's a good one. No, not the best, but yeah, it's definitely. But it does hold, I think, for me, kind of. It does hold some good emotional moments. I mean, as I said with Josh Brolin, he kind of starts out as the kid who's just like, oh, all right, come on, brother, let's go home. But then he does slowly start to say, oh, okay, okay, we can do this. And kind of with the character of kind of Sloth, the Fratelli's kind of d- deformed offspring, I think I went through all the right emotions that I think the filmmakers wanted me to go with this. I mean, kind of when he is first on screen, it's kind of pretty terrifying, kind of chained up and in the shadows. But then, kind of once he kind of starts interacting with Chunk, yeah, he's a good character. I do feel, yeah, and he does help to get them out of a few situations. And by the end, when they're all kind of towards the end of the movie, when they're walking up along the beach, and Chunk just says, "I want you to come and live with me. I'm going to take you home." That to me, that felt like a genuine moment of he's probably been shunned all his life, kept locked up in the dark, and just that one moment of kindness saying, "I want you to live with me." That to me was very heartfelt, and I I did feel myself shedding a tear. So yeah, as I said, I can see why people love this movie. It's not one of my favourites, I would say, but it's definitely a very good movie. And I definitely think one of the '80s classics. Not my favourite, but yeah, a good movie. I'm glad I saw it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again at some point. Yeah, I'll have to see if there are any other '80s classics I can bump up on my list. Until then, good one. Hey, you guys.